ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ ප්‍රථම වරට SLT 4G වෙතින් දැන් PO TV නරඹන්න. ඉදිරියටම ගෙන යන SLT 4G.
ලෙන්ගතුකම වැඩි කරගන්න ලව්ජු රුපියල් 50ට අඩු කළා.
මාමේ එන්න අපිට
Tonight, advice or interference. UN Special Rapporteurs urge President Gotabaya Rajapaksa to rethink COVID-19 final rights policy. Back to normal. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa mulls gradual resumption of day-to-day activities in some areas of the country. No satisfaction. Ex-PM Ranil Wickremesinghe commends government's virus efforts, but says still not enough. Exposed, Riyaj Badiuddin's links to Easter attack bombers revealed following his arrest. All this and much more coming up on this Wednesday, the 15th of April 2020.
6997ට SMS කර රුපියල් මිලියන 3ක මුල්තැන්ගේ උපකරණ දිනාගෙන අවුරුද්දෙම 100 ටයිම් සේව් කරගන්න.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
A very good evening and welcome to First at 9. I'm Shanella Fernando. Moving on to your top stories for tonight. Following the government's decision to amend official guidelines dealing with the disposal of remains of COVID-19 victims, 4 United Nations special rapporteurs have weighed in on the issue, having written to President Gotabaya Rajapaksa urging him to reconsider the decision in line with the right of freedom of religion and belief. The letter stated that the government's decision to only permit the cremation of COVID-19 victims is a stumbling block to the rights of minorities and lead to a reluctance among families and communities in reporting COVID-19 cases over fears of their inability to ensure burial rights according to their customs.
A group of 4 UN Special Rapporteurs have written to President Gotabaya Rajapaksa calling on the government of Sri Lanka to reconsider recent amendments to the guidelines for the autopsy practice and disposal of the remains of COVID-19 victims issued by the Health Ministry. The amendments in question were issued on the 31st of March, which changed the country's policy of allowing both burials and cremations to permitting only cremation. In the letter, the rapporteurs reminded the President of the importance of upholding the right of freedom of religion or belief, as well as the rights of minorities during this challenging time. The letter was co-signed by United Nations Special Rapporteur on Freedom of Religion or Belief, Ahmad Shahid, Special Rapporteur on the Right of Everyone to the Enjoyment of the Highest Attainable Standard of Physical and Mental Health, Dainius Puras, Special Rapporteur on Minority Issues, Fernand Varenz, and the Special Rapporteur on the Promotion and Protection of Human Rights and Fundamental Freedoms while Countering Terrorism, Fionnuala Nyalaine. The letter added, quote, "In view of the challenges posed by the pandemic, it is important that the government avoids any unnecessary measures that are likely to raise tensions and are running contrary to the respect of the fundamental human rights of persons belonging to different communities that exist in Sri Lanka," unquote. The letter added that such arbitrary decisions could prove to have a blowback effect to the country's battle against the virus, which may lead to reluctance among families and communities in reporting COVID-19 cases over fears of their inability to ensure burial rights according to their customs. The President was also urged to put in place a mechanism where the ethnicity of patients or the deceased is not highlighted in public in order to avoid the stigmatization of individuals of a specific community. The statement also called on the President to condemn any attempt by anyone, irrespective of status, to issue or spread hate messages that are of a nature aimed at instigating ethnic or religious tensions or violence, including through accusations or blame that any particular ethnic community bears responsibility for the COVID-19 pandemic.
As Sri Lanka goes past its 5th week in lockdown, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa today met with officials involved in the country's COVID-19 battle to discuss a gradual resumption of day-to-day activities at a provincial level in order to resurrect the country's economy. The President stated at the meeting that such decisions will be taken only after considering the health and safety situation at the grassroots level.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa chaired a meeting at the Presidential Secretariat today to explore the possibility of immediate resumption of day-to-day economic activities at provincial levels in order to safeguard the national economy. Several representatives of the health sector, including all provincial directors of health, briefed the president on the current situation in the country. The president instructed the provincial directors of health to make necessary recommendations required to maintain normal activities in the industrial, agricultural and business sectors through the Director General of Health. Decisions to relax current restrictions will be taken only after considerations of health situations at each provincial level. One of the main objectives of the meeting was to pay special attention to the livelihood of daily wage workers. Individuals who were infected with the coronavirus in each province, the people they were associated with, and the current quarantine processes were some of the topics discussed. Attention was also paid to the system of identifying infected people on a daily basis. The president also inquired from officials about the present conditions at quarantine centres and the required changes to be made. Provincial health authorities said that measures taken by the government to combat the coronavirus was effective compared to the rest of the world. President Rajapaksa said that this prevailing situation also provides an opportunity to assess the current situation as well as to pay attention to the steps that should be taken to improve the government's strategy.
The total number of COVID-19 infections in the country rose to 235 with the detection of 16 fresh cases since yesterday. However, the number of recoveries from the deadly virus have also risen to 63, with 2 more patients being discharged from hospitals today. Meanwhile, Commander of the Army Lieutenant General Shavindra Silva today said that the village of Tarapuram in Manna was released from the state of lockdown as it no longer poses the threat of an increased spread. Health authorities placed the number of infections in the country at 235, with 14 fresh cases being added to the tally last night and 2 this evening. Among the total number of infections detected so far in Sri Lanka, 165 are active cases. The country has seen 7 deaths so far, while 63 people have discharged after a complete recovery. With that being said, the recovery rate in the country now stands at 26.8%, marginally lower than yesterday's 27.85%. Sri Lanka's recovery rate, however, is 4 times higher than the world's largest economy, the United States, which now has the most number of cases and the most number of deaths in the world. All the fresh cases detected yesterday were reported from quarantine centres. 8 patients were identified from the Palali Quarantine Centre in Jaffna, 4 from the facility in Munkovil in Kilinochchi, and from the remaining duo, 1 had been detected from the facility in PUTTALAM and the other from another quarantine centre. The Colombo district reported the most number of COVID-19 patients, with the detection of 47 so far, while KALUTARA stands second in the list with 45 patients. The majority of the patients detected from KALUTARA have been identified from Beruala area. Accordingly, being classified as high-risk zones, the Pannila and China Fort areas of Beruala were isolated yesterday with entry or exit into the areas banned.
විශේෂයෙන්ම වේරුවල් ප්‍රදේශයෙන් 17 දෙනෙක් මේ ආකාරයෙන් නිරෝධායනයට යොදවමින් සිටිද්දී හමු වුණා. එතකොට මේ ගම්මානයේට ඔබ දන්නවා පළවෙනියටම අර හමු වුණා දරු ප්‍රසූතියකින් පස්සේ කාන්තාවක්. ඒ කාන්තාව ආපු කඩේ කරගෙන යන මේ මුදලාලි සහ එයාගේ නෝනටයි අසුව ඊයේ අර දුන්නේ එයාගේ පුතාට. මේ ආකාරයෙන් අපි අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම වෙනවා ඒ ගම්මාන වලට ඇතුළු වීම වළක්වන්න. ඊට අමතරව ඇත්තටම තාරාපුරම් මන්නාරම ඒක අපි නිදහස් කරා ඇත්තටම. දැන් තාරාපුරම් තවදුරටත්
The first person infected with COVID-19 was diagnosed on the 11th of March, and yesterday marked the 35th day since the onset of the spread of COVID-19 within the country. 42 people were diagnosed in the first week, 59 in the second week of the spread, while 41 were detected in week 3, 43 in week 4 and 48 in the 5th week. The health sector has meanwhile taken measures to increase the number of PCR tests in the country performed to detect COVID-19 patients. PCR tests were performed in only 2 institutions by early March, but currently the capacity has been increased to 11 institutions across the country. 8,000 people have been subjected to PCR tests so far, with 235 testing positive for the virus. As of March 16, only 100 PCR tests were conducted on a daily basis, but by the 1st of April, the number had increased to 200, and by the 12th, it had increased to 600 tests. In the meantime, the staff of the Colombo East-based hospital, along with the patients under treatment at the COVID-19 special unit, celebrated the Sinhala and Tamil New Year. Similarly, the staff of the Nagoda hospital also celebrated the Sinhala and Tamil New Year, along with the patients suspected to have contracted COVID-19. Meanwhile, the oldest son of the COVID-19 patient residing at Al Qasim City Housing Complex in Ratmalaya, Puttalam, who was an arrival from Indonesia too, has contracted the virus. He had tested positive during his stay at the Punani Quarantine Centre. The infected is a 38-year-old vice principal of a school in Kalpitiya. Accordingly, authorities from the medical officer's office in Puttalam arrived at his neighbourhood in search of information about his travel history and about the people in the vicinity that he had come into contact with. Meanwhile, measures were taken to direct associates of the COVID-19 infected person in Suduvella Jayala to the quarantine centre in Punani for coming into close contact with him, as they were found to have used drugs in a group setting. Only one person among the duo, however, tested positive. However, public health inspectors who went in search of the exposed individuals directed 93 persons from the Sekkuvatta area to the Punani Quarantine Centre, while also directing 20 others who were severely addicted to drugs to the Sampur Naval Quarantine Centre. Meanwhile, an operation was launched by the Army along with the Navy, the police and health officials in search of people including drug addicts in Petta who came into contact with the Suduvella COVID-19 patient.
කොරෝනා වෛරසය පැතිරීම වළක්වන්න සබන් යොදා දෑත් සෝදන්න.
Former Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, in an interview with an international media outlet, says that although the government and health officials have implemented a successful containment strategy in the country's COVID-19 battle, more could have been done to prepare the country by sourcing stocks of essential medical equipment as early as January. The statement follows an assurance by Health Minister Pavitra Vanniyarachi yesterday, where she revealed that the country does indeed have sufficient stocks to handle any eventuality. Rather, the UNP leader added that the country's debtors must be urged to provide debt relief for the country's economy to get back on track.
Former Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, interviewed by an international media outlet, expressed satisfaction in the government's efforts to contain the COVID-19 outbreak in the country, but claimed that authorities should have prepared themselves for the crisis as early as January of this year.
Well, actually, the lockdown has been successful. The government has acted. I must say the health service is doing a wonderful job. So is the military, the police, public and the private sector. People are cooperating. So that part has been successful. But where the government, I think, made a lapse is that they did not get the equipment early in January. We should have got more testing kits, more face masks, more ventilators. We delayed on that. I hope they are sufficient now, because we have to lift this lockdown partially, and you have to go to testing, keep testing like Germany and South Korea. Because we were fully locked down, since we were not ready at that time, we have to lift the lockdown partially and keep bringing the economy back on.
Speaking on the country's servicing of its debts to countries such as China, Wickremesinghe said that a policy decision must be taken by creditor governments that cover all countries with outstanding debts.
We can ask China, but whether it is China or any other countries, they will all have to take a policy decision. If you give one, you have to give the others. But our problem is that our bulk of our foreign loans, it's about, I think, about 50% of our debt is really international sovereign bonds. China, India, all come up to about 15 to 20% only. So the issue is the international foreign bonds, and we have to pay another $1 billion in a few months' time. So if you take it off our reserves come down. I can't see any new money coming in. Earlier we balanced it out by 2016, 17, and we are on the path to repayment. I think the government is now talking with the IMF, because they have restored what the revenue back to the levels that the IMF wanted them. But it's going to be difficult. We will somehow pay this money, I feel, but then our reserves will go down further, and there's no way of meeting that gap. So we are all going to be in trouble by now, if not this year, by next year. But I think the creditor countries, all, China, everyone should basically give some relief to all the other countries.
Police media spokesperson SP Jalia Senaratne today revealed that Riyaj Badiuddin, brother of former Minister Rishad Badiuddin, had direct links with a suicide bomber involved in the Easter Sunday attacks, which claimed the lives of over 250 people. Hence, acting upon investigations carried out, Riyaj Badiuddin along with 5 other suspects were arrested by the CID in Puttalam yesterday. In the face of criticism over the partiality of previous investigations probing the Easter attacks that claimed the lives of over 250 people, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa handed a special CID team the responsibility to conduct an unbiased investigation. Accordingly, the investigations led to the arrest of 2 individuals recently found to have provided logistical support to 2 suicide bombers. Investigations have also revealed that Riyaj Badiuddin, brother of former parliamentarian Rishad Badiuddin, has had direct links to an Easter Sunday suicide bomber. Acting on the findings, the CID arrested 6 individuals, including Riyaj Badiuddin in Puttalam yesterday.
මෙම සැකකරුවන් අතර නීතිඥවරයෙක් ඉන්නවා. ඒ වගේම රේගු නිලධාරියෙක් ඉන්නවා. ඊට අමතරව හිටපු අමාත්‍යවරයෙක් වන රිෂාඩ් බදියුද්දීන් මහතාගේ සහෝදරයෙක් වන රියාජ් බදියුද්දීන් යන මහත්මයා ඉන්නවා. විශේෂයෙන්ම පණිවිඩීන් මොහමඩ් රියාඩ් බදියුද්දීන් යන සැකකරු ඍජුව සම්බන්ධතා පාත්‍රලා තියෙනවා එක් බෝම්බකරුවෙක් සමග. ඒ වගේම තොරතුරු අනාවරණය වෙලා තියෙනවා එක් බෝම්බකරුවෙක් සමග බෝම්බ පිපිරීමට ආසන්න කාලයකදී එක්තරා ප්‍රසිද්ධ හෝටලයක එකට ඉඳලා සාකච්ඡා කරලා තියෙන බවට. ඒ වගේම විශේෂ සුබ සාධන සමිති සමාගම් ඇති කරලා ඒ සමාගම් වල මේ බෝම්බකරුවන් එක්ක එකට නිලතල දරමින් කටයුතු කරලා තියෙනවා මේ අපි අතඩංගුවට ගත්ත සැකකරුවන්. ඒ සමාගම් වලට මේ බෝම්බකරුවන් මුදල් ආයෝජනය කරලා තියෙන බවට තොරතුරු අනාවරණය කරගෙන තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේම ඉඩම් ඒ සංවිධාන වලට පරිත්‍යාග කරලා කියලා තොරතුරු අනාවරණය වෙලා තියෙනවා. මෙය ඉතා සංකීර්ණ විමර්ශනයක්. මේ තියෙන්නේ බෝම්බකරුවන් සමග හඳුනාගත්ත සම්බන්ධතාවයන් තමයි මෙහි පේන්නේ. ඒකට මේ සෑම තැනත් එක්ක සම්බන්ධයෙන්ම අපි විමර්ශන කටයුතු කරනවා. මේ ප්‍රහාරය සම්බන්ධයෙන් මේ වෙන විට අපරාධ පරීක්ෂණ දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව විසින් සැකකරුවන් 119 දෙනෙක් අත්අඩංගුවට අරගෙන විමර්ශන කටයුතු කරනවා. ඒ වගේම ත්‍රස්තවාදී විමර්ශන කොට්ටාසය සැකකරුවන් 78 දෙනෙක් අත්අඩංගුවට අරගෙන ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් ඔවුන්ට එරෙහිව පරීක්ෂණ පවත්වනවා. බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා මේ විමර්ශනයේ තව සාර්ථක පියවර කිහිපයක් ඉදිරියේදී අරගෙන කඩිනමින් මේ විමර්ශනය අවසන් කිරීම සඳහා.
With scores of Sri Lankans stuck in foreign countries owing to the global travel suspension as well as airport closures here at home, Director General of Health Services Dr. Anil Jasinghe says that repatriation of Sri Lankans should be done according to a systematic and safe process to prevent mistakes from the past being made once again. Following the temporary travel bans imposed by countries in order to prevent the further spread of the coronavirus, Sri Lankan expatriates overseas are currently unable to travel back home. Director General of Health Services Dr. Anil Jasinghe has stated that the repatriation of the Sri Lankans should be done through a properly planned and methodical process.
මේ ඇත්ත වශයෙන්ම ශ්‍රී ලාංකික පුරවැසි භාවයේ තියෙන උදවිය එහෙනම් අපිට ඇත්ත වශයෙන්ම ඔවුන් පිළිබඳව විශේෂයෙන් කල්පනා කරන්න සිද්ධ වෙනවා. නමුත් මෙහිදී අපි අවධානය යොමු කළ යුතු කාරණා තියෙනවා. දැන් අපි දන්නවා මාර්තු 9ට ඉස්සෙල්ලා අර ඉතාලියෙන් පැමිණි පිරිසක් අපි ගුවන් තොටුපළේ ඉඳලා කෙලින්ම සමාජයට යොමු කිරීමෙන් වෙච්ච ප්‍රශ්නය අපි දන්නවා. ඒ තුලින් කොපමණ COVID-19 රෝගීන් මේ රටේ ඇති වුණාද කියන එක දන්නවා. ඉතින් එහෙම ගත්තාම අපි දැනට විදේශවල සිටින කියා කරන අය ශිෂ්‍යයින් රජයේ ඉගෙනීමට පශ්චාත් උදාහරණයකට පශ්චාත් වෛද්‍ය ශිෂ්‍යයින් මේ සියල්ල ගෙන්වා ගැනීමේදී එය යම්කිසි ආකාරයකට කළමනාකරණය කළා ගෙන්වා ගැනීම වැදගත් වෙනවා. දැන් මේ අවස්ථාවේ ගත්තොත් එහෙම තවමත් දහස් ගණනක් අපේ මේ නිරෝධායන මධ්‍යස්ථාන තුල සිටිනවා. මේ ගුවන් තොටුපළ වැසීම නිසා පිටින් අපිට මේ ආසාදනය පැමිණීමේ හැකියාව නැවතිලා තියෙනවා. ඒතකොට අපි මේ ඇතුලේ දැන් අභ්‍යන්තරයේ තියෙන ප්‍රශ්නය මන්ට මේක අවසානයක් කළගත යුතුයි. එහෙම කරගත්තාම අපිට මේ නිරෝධායන මධ්‍යස්ථාන විවෘත වෙනවා. ඒතකොට මේ නිරෝධායන මධ්‍යස්ථාන වල තත්ත්වය තවත් යොමුත් කළා. ඒ සමගම මෙන්න මේ විදේශයන්හි සිටින ඉස්සෙල්ලම යැපෙන උදවිය කියන්නේ ශිෂ්‍යයින් මේ පශ්චාත් උපාධි සඳහා ගියපු ශිෂ්‍යයින් ඇතුළු ඒ පිරිස් ක්‍රමක්‍රමයෙන් ගෙන්වා ගැනීම තමයි වඩා සුදුසු වන්නේ.
Residents in low-risk districts will be provided with a 10-hour window from 6 a.m. tomorrow to stock up on essential goods and other necessities, which ends at 4 p.m. on the same day. However, residents in high-risk zones such as Colombo, GAMPAHA, KALUTARA, KANDY, PUTTALAM and JAFFNA will remain in lockdown as a precautionary measure.
As the government's COVID-19 containment efforts continue, the curfew for the districts of Colombo, KALUTARA, GAMPAHA, PUTTALAM, KANDY and JAFFNA will remain in place until further notice. However, curfew in low-risk districts will be lifted at 6 a.m. tomorrow and will be reimposed at 4 p.m. on the same day, providing a window of 10 hours for people to restock their essential supplies. Meanwhile, according to a latest statement from the President's Media Division, the curfew, which will be lifted tomorrow in 19 districts at 6 a.m. and reimposed at 4 p.m. will continue afterwards until the 20th of April. As police continue the crackdown on curfew violators, the Office of the Police Media spokesman stated that 28,441 persons have been arrested, along with 7,194 vehicles taken into custody up until today since the 20th of March. Meanwhile, the Avisavilla police raided and arrested 9 suspects for gambling in the Avisavilla area yesterday. The suspects were produced before the Avisavilla acting magistrate today. However, they were granted bail upon a request made by the police to subject them to a 21-day quarantine period. In Jayala, another 4 suspects, including a woman, were arrested by area police officers for transporting illicit liquor under the guise of transporting water from the area of Othakale in Ekala up to Yakkaduwa in Jayala. 2 motorcycles used for the transportation were also seized. The police special task force arrested 5 suspects for producing alcohol in a house located at Auburn side in Dahivala. Elsewhere in Hanguranketha, 4 suspects were nabbed by police for producing liquor illegally in the kitchen of an abandoned house. In another development, Cosmodra police arrested a cab driver for transporting passengers for money using an essential services board provided by the National Water Supply and Drainage Board. 4 other persons were also taken into custody. According to a spokesman for the National Water Supply and Drainage Board, the vehicle had been rented by the water board, but the driver had misused it on his personal time.
Despite the many services provided by the government to a vast number of people, pockets of people have faced issues as they have been deprived due to the inability of the government officials to provide a foolproof plan with the ongoing situation. However, the government has taken the necessary steps to amend the shortcomings that have come to pass in the plan implemented to help destitute people by expanding the number of people capable of receiving the allowance of 5,000 rupees. The government also began the second phase of purchasing of vegetables and fruits today by allowing farmers of fruits have their produce sold at a reasonable price to the government. The second phase of the government's program to purchase vegetables and fruits from farmers struggling in the face of the COVID-19 downturn was carried out today as well in the districts of Anuradhapura, Badulla, Ratnapura and Hambantota. Accordingly, with the intervention of the Badulla District Secretary, vegetables were also purchased from the areas of Bandaravela, Valimanda and Kappetipola. Through the program, a guaranteed price of 40 rupees per kilogram of pumpkin was established by the task force for purchases from the area of pumpkin farmers. Hence, 143,000 kilograms of pumpkin were purchased from the farmers of Mahavilachia, Anuradhapura, while 50,000 kilograms of pumpkin were purchased from the Nochiagama area.
වට්ටකටක අද හවසම කොළඹට යනවා කොළඹට ගිහිල්ලා ගියාට පස්සේ අඩු ආදායම් ලාභින්ද මේක නොමිලේ බෙදා දෙන්න තමයි අතිගරු ජනාධිපතිතුමා උපදෙස් දීලා තියෙන්නේ.
Alongside the purchase of vegetables, fruit farmers too received some relief, with their yields also purchased in several districts. Accordingly, stocks of bananas were purchased from 3 areas in Ambalipitia today. Thereby, bananas were seen purchased at locations such as the Morakatia Banana Fair and the DA Rajapaksa Vidyalaya, as well as in 8 locations in Hambantota today. In the meantime, Minister of Power and Energy Mahinda Amaraveera in a statement said that train services could also be obtained for the transport of vegetables. Meanwhile, a program was launched today to provide relief for many members of the public who remain destitute due to the current crisis. Hence, some of the recipients, the elderly, kidney patients and the disabled will be entitled to an allowance of Rs 5,000. Minister of Health and Indigenous Medicine Pavitra Vanyarachi listed out new segments of the public that will now be entitled to receive the 5,000 rupee allowance provided by the government.
පෙරපාසල් ගුරුවරියන්ට කුඩා තේවතු හිමියන්ට ප්‍රාදේශීය ජනමාධ්‍යවේදීතුමන්ලට තුමියන්ලට අත්‍යන්තර සහ පේෂ කර්මාන්තයේ නියැලී සිටින අයට උසාවිවල නඩත්තු ලබා ගැනීමට සුදුසුකම් ලබපු ඒ කණ්ඩායමට පෞද්ගලික බස් රථ රියදුරු මහත්තුරු සහ කොන්දොස්තර මහත්තුරුන්ට පාරම්පරික ආයුර්වේද වෙද මහත්තුරුන් මෙන්න මේ අය ඉල්ලීම් කළා තියෙනවා ජනාධිපති කාර්යසාධක බලකාය වෙත ආධාර මුදල් ලබා දෙන්න කියලා. ඒ කණ්ඩායම් වලට එකවර ගෙවන රුපියල් 5000ක දීමනාවක් වශයෙන් කාර්යසාධක බලකාය වෙත ඉදිරිපත් කර තිබෙන ලයිස්තු වලට සමෘද්ධි නිලධාරීන් හරහා මේ මාසේ 20 වෙනිදා වන විට ඒ මුදල් ලබා දීමට කටයුතු කරනවා. ජනාධිපති කාර්යසාධක බලකාය මගින් තීන්දුව කරලා තියෙනවා මෙන්න මේ කණ්ඩායම් වලටත් ඒ රුපියල් 5000ක සහනාධාරය ලබා දෙන්න. ඉදිකිරීම් කර්මාන්තයට අදාළ ගඩොල් වැලි ආදී අමුද්‍රව්‍ය සැපයීම මෙන්ම වඩු පෙදරේරු ජලනල විදුලි කාර්මික පින්තාරු වැනි ශේෂ්ත්‍රවල නියැලුණු පුද්ගලයන් හා එම කාර්යයන් සඳහා අතුදව් සපයන කුලීකරුවන් වැනි වෘත්තීන් වල නියැදෙන්නන්ට ඒ වගේම රස කැවිලි කර්මාන්තය කොහු පාපිසි සමරුපලක බති ලෝහ වැනි ශාල කර්මාන්ත නෙමෙයි තා කුඩා වශයෙන් මෙවැනි කර්මාන්ත කරගෙන සිටින සුළු කර්මාන්තකරුවන් සාමාන්‍යයෙන් රූපලාවන්‍ය කටයුතු වල යෙදෙන අය උත්සව භාණ්ඩ ත්‍රිවීල් හා මෝටරසයිකල් අලුත් වැඩියා කරන්නන් ඇඳුම් බසන්නන් කොණ්ඩ කපන්නන් ත්‍රිරෝද රථ රියදුරු වැනි සේවා සපයන කණ්ඩායම්වල මම සඳහන් කරපු ඒ වර්ගවල ඉන්න ඉල්ලුම් පත්‍රය ලබාගෙන ඒ ඉල්ලුම් පත්‍රය පුරවලා ඒ කොමිටුවට ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න ඕන. ඒ කොමිටුව 17යි 18යි කියන දවස් දෙක තුල ගම්මානවල ඒ කොමිටුව රැස් වෙනවා.
Releasing a statement today, the Ministry of Women, Child Affairs and Social Security said that the government is planning to pay the 5,000 rupee allowance to the elderly, kidney patients and the disabled and all those who have not been on a waiting list and not received the said allowance once approved by rural committees. Accordingly, 74,154 elders, 14,195 persons with disabilities and 5,884 kidney patients approved by the rural committees will also be paid the allowance. With many goods and services being delivered to the people, the Consumer Affairs Authority raided an online retailer today for allegedly taking delivery orders via their website and not delivering the necessary goods. General Secretary of the Samagi Jana Balavege Ranjit Madhuma Bandara has written to President Gotabaya Rajapaksa today informing him of the party's intention to seek the court opinion on the issue of the parliamentary elections.
Samagi Jana Balavege General Secretary Ranjit Madhuma Bandara has written a letter to the Election Commission Chairman Mahinda Deshapriya. Letter states that taking into consideration the current crisis situation and the inability of the government to hold an election, the opinion of the Supreme Court will be sought. The Samagi Jana Balavege General Secretary added that whilst his party appreciates the position of the Election Commission Chairman regarding the election, he reiterated that the current environment is not ideal for a free and fair election and urged the Commission to provide an opportunity for party leaders to discuss the issue at length. Meanwhile, the former MP has also forwarded a letter to the acting IGP C.D. Vikramaratne voicing objections to the denial of permission for a party meeting to be held at the opposition leader's office in Colombo.
නිෂ්පාදිත දිනය කවදත් අලුත් වටවල තේ අරගන්න.
වටවල තේ ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ තේ එක.
Welcome back in your business news. The rupee gained today to stand at 190 rupees 50 cents to 191 rupees and 50 cents to the US dollar today, buoyed by the expectation of a significant inflow of dollars from Lankaroix Leasing Company following the sale of an international subsidiary. The rupee reached its lowest against the dollar in recent days, reaching the 200 rupee mark for the first time in history. The rupee has traded weak, hovering around the 195 rupee and 50 cent levels to the US dollar in the 1-month market, with a monetary authority connected state banks selling dollars at the 193 rupees and 80 cents level, which led to the further selling by other banks. Sri Lanka's rupee was quoted around 194.50 to 195 to 50 to the US dollar in the 1-week forward market last Thursday. Sri Lanka goes through a cycle of liquidity injections followed by currency falls, stopping car imports, cutting net open positions without any changes to the high unstoppable soft peg analysis. Asian share markets took a breather today as warnings of the world's global recession since the 1930s underlined the economic damage already done even as some countries try to reopen for business. Japan's benchmark Nikkei 225 opened down 0.25% at 19,589.25 points. China moved again to cushion its economy, cutting a key medium-term interest rate to record lows and paving the way for a similar reduction in benchmark loan rates. Hong Kong stocks closed with gains, with the benchmark Hang Seng Index rose 0.26% or 64.46 points. The Shanghai Composite Index opened roughly flat today, dropped 0.62 points at 2,826.66 points. More news on the other side of this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. With the world struggling to gain the higher ground in the battle against the COVID-19 virus, President of the United States Donald Trump announced that his administration would be halting funding to the World Health Organization. These comments, however, come in the backdrop of the United States struggling to contain the virus from further spreading throughout the country, which has placed it at the top of the list of the most infections and deaths in the world.
With the COVID-19 pandemic having a footing in every country across the world, governments globally continue to tighten measures taken to curb the further spreading of the virus and are now seeing its efforts reaping the results as countries like Italy, France and Spain step down from the spotlight as some of the worst hit. However, the United States continues to struggle to contain the outbreak of the virus on home soil as it reports the world's highest number of deaths and infections, recording deaths past the 1,000 mark for over a week continually. The reason for this could be traced to the lack of preparedness and insufficient equipment to deal with the virus when the rest of the world sought to tighten measures, prepare contingency plans, and strategize against the virus. Amidst this, the President of the United States, Donald Trump, yesterday publicly announced that his administration has decided to cut funding to the World Health Organization. The head of state accused the World Health Organization of mismanaging and covering up the spread of the virus after it emerged in China and said that it must be held accountable, a move that can be seen as attempts to use the UN agency as a scapegoat for its own shortcomings.
Today I'm instructing my administration to halt funding of the World Health Organization while a review is conducted to assess the World Health Organization's role in severely mismanaging and covering up the spread of the coronavirus. Everybody knows what's going on there. American taxpayers provide between $400 million and $500 million per year to the WHO. In contrast, China contributes roughly $40 million a year and even less. As the organization's leading sponsor, the United States has a duty to insist on full accountability. One of the most dangerous and costly decisions from the WHO was its disastrous decision to oppose travel restrictions from China and other nations. They were very much opposed to what we did. Fortunately, I was not convinced and suspended travel from China, saving untold numbers of lives. Thousands and thousands of people would have died.
Microsoft tycoon Bill Gates, meanwhile, tweeted his dissatisfaction to the move, saying that this is not the right time to be placing an organization such as the WHO in a dangerous situation by limiting its funding as it coordinates efforts around the world to contain the deadly virus. In the meantime, officials of the World Health Organization say that not all people who recover from the coronavirus have the antibodies to fight a second infection, raising concerns that patients may not develop immunity after surviving COVID-19.
With that, we wrap up tonight's edition of First at 9. Thank you for joining. I'm Shanella Fernando. Good night.